We've seen the UI tab bar, and we've seen how easy it is to work with, but we've also seen a little bit of the limitations of it. Now we're going to take a look at the toolbar, and the toolbar isn't quite as easy to work with, but it's much more flexible. So we'll start with our storyboard and a basic view controller. Actually would like that to be 4.7 inches. And I'm going to add a second view controller. And also size him. On my first view controller, I'm going to add a toolbar. And it should go down in the bottom. And by default, it has a single bar button item. And this is a button I can do anything with, and we'll see a couple of the things that we can do with it. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to give that the title 1. And as you can see, I can add an image to it if I want, so I can effectively make this a tab bar. And now I'm going to lay out my toolbar. I have some other tools that I can put on it besides just bar buttons. You can see I can have a search bar, but what I'm looking for is a fixed space. I'd like a little space in between this button and the next button that I'm going to add. So I'm going to size it a little bit. And add my second button. And then I'm going to add another control called flexible space. And that's going to essentially take up all of the rest of the space in the item. But what I can do now is add a final bar button item. And you see how it effectively right justifies. We'll call that Go. So now I have a view controller, and I've got a little toolbar on the bottom of it. Now let's see what we can actually do with it. So I'm going to add a label to this view. And we'll add a label to this view controller as well. And we'll call that one View 2. And now I'm ready to create some outlets. So I have my label, and I want to create an outlet for that. And now I have my little toolbar buttons. And I want to create an action for that. Now you'll note that they don't have as many actions as a normal UI button view. The sent action is the action that I get when the button is touched. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to do that for buttons 1 and 2. And when I get those events, I'm just going to set the label text. So when button 1 is clicked, the label will say 1. When button 2 is clicked, the label will say 2. So that's simple enough. Let's go back to our storyboard and work with this other one. This go button, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm going to hold Control down and drag over to the view controller, and I'm going to create a segue. And that's all I need to do in order to move to this second view controller. So I can treat these buttons basically as any kind of button on a form. So I can do segues and I can do actions with them. And that's all I needed to do to create a little bit of a flexible toolbar down the bottom of the form. And we can see it running. And here it is down at the bottom. And if I tap on 1, the label updates. Tap on 2, the label updates. And you can see I have that fixed spacing and the flexible spacing that right justifies the go button. And when I tap on the go button, I go to view 2. Now I didn't put any go back kind of segue, so I'm a little bit stuck on view 2 at this point. But I would do that in exactly the same way we talked about earlier with the storyboard. So that's how I can work with a toolbar. And you can see how quickly I can build a toolbar up that gives me some flexibility in the commands and actions that I can take with it.